Hello everybody, tis I, Vegeta FH1. I'm here to continue the ski tutorial. This is the, I suppose, slightly more advanced stuff for skiing and movement. I am still in my Pathfinder class, and I suppose here are the subjects that I'm actually going to be covering. High flying, control and plans. Usually, I'll show you what it is. Self-propellants, the pros and cons. Oh yes, that's one we are going to have to start with. Differences in height and cliff. Hill and cliff, height and steepness. When you're high flying, you want steeper hills. I'll explain it. Skiing pointers for different classes, like Pathfinder, Sentinel, the Doombringer, Juggernaut, yada yada. Where you want to go and how you get there. Okay, that's kind of easy. High flying barrier. Remember the barrier I explained in the basic tutorial? Well, that barrier can go up and down depending on suppose your vertical jetpacking, how steep it is, and your trajectory, and it all comes into it. And of course, one subject that everybody lacks the knowledge about is energy conservation. And no, I'm not talking about a green planet, because quite honestly my computer costs $4 grand. It is the least eco-friendly computer you could come across. So I suppose I should start with self-propellant. Self-propelling yourself is the act of pretty much aiming at your ass at the right angle, firing and jetpacking all at once to propel yourself at high speeds. Essentially that would be this. Or, no, that was pretty fail actually. That is self-propelling. The act of this is simply to gain higher speed. That is literally it. Now, the first thing I want to explain is, with say, a steep hill like this, if you shoot yourself away from the cliff, like that, you're not going to stick to the cliff. Okay? That's pretty easy to understand. What you want to do when you are going down a hill, such as that, is you want to aim to the back of yourself and slightly up. When you're going down it, you want to aim slightly up. If you're going up it, you want to aim slightly down. And the other way, depending on which way you're actually facing. So going down this hill, you want to stick to it. So in order to do that, you do that. You aim slightly up, so the explosion forces you downwards. When I do my aiming tutorials, I'll be showing you explosion patterns, how to correctly aim at a target and send them in a specific direction. But that's for a different tutorial. Right now, we're constant on self-propellants. So, okay, the pros of this would be sending yourself at high speeds. Most definitely. That, for a Pathfinder, that is... it's brilliant. Like, come on. How is that not brilliant? That's just from one self-propelling. Now, a con of that is, well, you're taking damage. You're taking quite a lot of damage, and as a Pathfinder, well, let's just say you can't take a lot of hits. As a Doombringer, you can do that. You can self-propel as a Doombringer. You can self-propel as a Juggernaut, as a Brute, as a Raider, Soldier. You can do it with all classes. I think... No, in fact, I think the only one you can't do it with is a Sentinel. Oh no, wait, you can. You can use the Claymores. So, another con of self-propelling yourself is for the first 3 seconds of self-propelling, you actually lose a lot of control over your character. I'm not just saying simple stuff like your jetpack. You still have control of your jetpack, but you'll find it very hard to maneuver yourself while in the air. This is pretty standard. I wish Hi-Rez would fix it, but I get the feeling it's supposed to be there. I get the feeling it's there for a reason. But one of the pros about self-propelling, other than the fact that you're going at high speeds, is that when you do it, your speed, if I can show you this successfully. See that? You may lose control, but your altitude increases dramatically. So when you start using your jetpack afterwards, I'll just show you now. You gain the height required, the horizontal height, if you can wrap your head around that. You can very quickly pick up a lot of speed because of it. And even if you fail, like I would consider that one a fail, you can still pick up a nice bit of speed, and although it sends you in weird directions which don't exactly fit in with the norm of hitting hills right, it does help quite a bit. Self-propelling is one of those things that you would want to do before, like, quite a bit away from enemy units because of the health drain. Egocentric helps with this because you take reduced damage from self-damage, and this greatly helps with self-propelling yourself halfway across the map. Plus it's great fun. Oh, I hit the top lip of that. God damn it. I suppose I could show you on another class. Let's say Soldier. I suppose that would be... Oh, okay. Thanks, Hi-Rez, for changing that. That's deadly. Now you see, I took a lot of damage there because I don't have Egocentric on my Soldier. And if I do it again, although I might pick up a lot of speed, I'm now sitting at 170 HP. That's not good for a Soldier. So while Egocentric may be a good thing for a Soldier, it's not for every single class. And I would say the nicest one to use it for is a Pathfinder, because it's just right. Yeah, nice try, base turret. Now, a lot of people will use the Thumper on the Soldier for self-propelling. The differences between guns totally depend on their damage. And if you don't have egocentric and you use a thumper like I just did, you can very easily kill yourself with it. Another one for high flying. Yeah, that was purposefully done. Get off my back. The next subject I want to go into is high flying. High flying is for soldiers. I said that in the basic tutorial, right? Now,
we have captured the diamond
sorry, I
sword
just had
flag.
to do that. High flying is going above the barrier. The invisible barrier. Now, when you're doing something like this, you are open targets for Doombringers with saber launchers. That's what I'd consider high flying. Now, although it's not the greatest idea in the world to high fly. It just isn't. But with that, you have this barrier, right? And the barrier dictates between what you are low flying and high flying, or if you are low flying or high flying. That barrier can change. If you are going on a vertical flight, like I'm about to do, or not, because I hit the wall apparently. No comment. I'll switch back to pathfinding, because I can find it. I just find it easier. There we go. That's high flying. And vertical flight. Vertical flight is going straight up. Horizontal flight is this. Now, you know the way you can pick up a lot of speed and fly horizontally and pass everybody out like a fucking million kph's and just literally, I suppose, buzz them would be the word. But when you are horizontally flying and you're going slightly up, the barrier increases in height because you're flying horizontally, you're not flying vertically. If you're flying vertically, it takes you longer to hit the ground than it does if you're flying horizontally. So you're more open to targeting by Doombringers, by anybody who's a good shot, when you're high flying and you're going vertical. Doombringers can really easily lock onto you and just say, yep, feck off, and launch a few saber missiles when you're flying vertically. That is something you want to stop from happening. And by doing that, you fly horizontally. A good Pathfinder will know the difference and be able to fly horizontally. Okay, I'm dropping that. The new music is just bad, I'm sorry. A good Pathfinder will fly horizontally rather than vertically. Now when you hit a curved hill like I showed you in Katabatic, that will send you kinda both vertical and horizontal. Those are the hills you want to kinda hit, because when you hit one of those hills and it sends you vertically, horizontally, diagonally
Diamond
essentially,
Sword has secured their flag.
I'm so fucked. No, never mind. Your high flying barrier increases in height because it takes you a shorter time to hit the ground from something like that, then your barrier is higher. Essentially, the height of the barrier is dictated by one thing and one thing only: how long it takes you to hit the ground. That is something that I would want everybody to be aware of. Now, let's say I go up here, right? That's me essentially high flying. I'm way above the barrier. I would say on Novena, the barrier would be, I suppose the natural barrier would be these, the top of these towers. Because it takes you, if you're going up, if you're jetpacking up, by the time you hit that, a Doombringer can lock onto you and fire a Saber missile. That is the time it takes. So if you're flying horizontally, like that, but you're flying up, sort of like that, your barrier increases because it takes you less time to hit the ground. I know it's a very interesting and strange concept. Piss off, Base Turret. It's something I have gotten used to for quite some time. So, if you fly vertically, your barrier goes down. If you fly horizontally, your barrier goes up. So, it's trying to find the right height that you can get to before you have to fall. This leads into energy conservation, because imagining that barrier saves you a lot of energy, a lot of jetpack fuel, and you need that to get around. Feck off, Base Turret. Yeah, no. Thanks, bridge. Thanks. When you are at the right height and you come down, if you've done it perfect, how you know you've done it perfect is if by the time you've hit the barrier, you're at 1/4 your energy bar. By the time you hit the ground, you're at full energy bar. It's very hard to explain. It's hard to explain properly, but this is the way I know it. Let's see that, right? See? I'm not doing it right, because, well, A, the fucking Base Turret won't leave me alone, and B, because that was a poor example. Okay, that would be high flying. Let's go into the ditch. Now, that would be what I would describe as perfect. I'm gonna hit that frickin' wall again. You know you're a good skier when you have perfect energy conservation. A lot of people will just drain their frickin' jetpack trying to get a good height to start out. Don't do this. It cripples you and leaves you dead in the water midfield, and if that happens, well, you may as well walk up to the enemies and say, "Hi, just shoot me now." Because that's essentially what you're doing. Feck off, Base Turret. Energy conservation, especially when you're going at high speeds, is essential. Get used to doing it. Have fun with it, learn it, perfect it. It will save you time, it will save you frustration. And saving you frustration is practically what I'm here for. Because in the game, honestly, you don't get a second chance. You die, and well, you have to respawn back at base. See? Energy conservation. Save your lives. Save the frustration. I couldn't make that because I wasn't conserving energy. I was using way too much of it to get where I needed to go. That transitions to the next one, to the next subject. Where you want to go and how the fuck you get there. Unnecessary cursing for the win. See that? Draining your power like that is just bad. Don't do it unless you are gonna bunny hop hills. And bunny hopping hills is for heavies, not for lights. Yeah, you're not hitting me, base turret. Not a fucking hope. Don't do what I'm just doing now. Do not expand or expend your jetpacking to get and hit a hill. Find a different hill, learn your routes, get it right. That's high flying. That's me dead. So, if a Doombringer didn't fucking launch into me, or launch a Saber missile at me, you can guarantee the 5 other guys following me would kill me. So, where you want to go, and how you want to get there. Throwing that flag because that music is bad. I'm sorry. Where you want to go and how you want to get there. This requires creating a pre-planned path every single match with the knowledge of how the map is laid out. Map knowledge and map awareness I'll be doing a tutorial on at a later stage. How to plan your routes properly, how to spot hills when you're high flying, how to spot their steepness, and so on and so on.
Diamond Sword has secured their flag.
Thank you, announcer. So, okay, you're a Pathfinder. No. Let's say you're a heavy, right? And you're Juggernaut class, and you want to go hitting the turrets. You need to be in range for something like that, and you need to learn where the hills are for heavies. Back off, base turret. I would suggest using small hills just to kind of launch yourself between places. Like that one. And this one here. Don't be afraid to just use the steep, I suppose the steepness, the sharpness of the hill. Just to kind of get yourself around. Like, let's say you're starting from here, right? I'm a freaking heavy, so I'm not going to use thrust back. Use these downward hills. Jump up, just use a little bit of jetpack, jump up and over. Hop the hills. Right? Hop over the lips of the hills and go down the other side. A lot of heavies will use that Back off, base turret. Back off, base turret. A lot of heavies will use that, and a lot of, I suppose, some mediums would. I've seen raiders do it, and I've seen techies do it. If you can get yourself on top of a big hill in order to shoot your target, well, fucking hey, congrats. You're going to be expending a lot of your energy, a lot of your backpack energy to make high jumps. So I would highly suggest staying away from that. Because at the end of the day, a high-flying heavy doesn't work. A high-flying heavy who's like got 2 saber missiles on him also doesn't work. It is, I would say, common ground to use medium armors for something like this, because they can skip entire hills just to get around. Lights are the most effective at it because they can skip entire cliff sides just to get around. Heavies don't have that luxury. Back off! Yeah, that was a bad shot. Lol. Heavies don't have that luxury, so using not all of your energy, or sorry, should I say, don't use all of your energy. Make the little jumps. See, heavies really have to learn the maps where every little bump is. Lights, not so much. They have to pathfind, yes, but heavies have it really difficult because they don't have a massive amount of energy. In fact, compared to like one of the light classes, they have almost no energy. The best place a heavy would want to start, I suppose, would be here. You have access to 2 hills that can increase your momentum tenfold and can lob you from hill to hill. But again, coming up the other side of those hills, that's where shit really hits the fan. This is one of the hills, right? Start ski, right? Now you can go over this side, not use any energy. But coming up this one, you're gonna drain your fucking energy really badly. And then coming up and down here, that would be the fastest way for a heavy, at least that I know of, for a heavy to cross this map. Again, map awareness and all that stuff, that'll come in a separate tutorial. A heavy can really easily, if they know what they're doing and they've created a nice path for themselves, they can cross a map really easily with hardly any energy spent. But going up like these cliffs here, no, that's the hill. See this cliff here? Going up something like this with a heavy is going to expend your energy really quickly. So I would highly suggest not doing something like that. With mediums, it's a hell of a lot easier, especially with the soldier. The soldier is the bread and butter of your side. He is the one guy who can do pretty much all that and a bag of chips. The lights don't have much of a problem. Sentinels can cross a map self-propelling. Infiltrators can cross a map self-propelling. although it is harder to do it on mediums and heavies, it is possible. I suppose I should just give you an example of this. We'll try the brutes because it's the easiest with the brutes. This heavy spin fuser. That was fail. There we go. Why am I acting like a pathfinder on a fucking brute? Yeah. Whoa, okay. Thank you, base. Fuck off, base turret. Brutes can do it. You're a lot slower than you would be on a light, of course. You're a heavy. But it is possible. Not the best way to pull it off. But you have the example. Now, doing this as a fucking heavy is not a good idea. Not only do I have hundreds of people following me right now, but if done wrong, it's horrible. I don't have the energy to do this. This is why I tell heavies to stay the hell away from a flag. Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. When you can pathfind 250 kph, I'll say 200 at average, then it beats the hell out of a heavy doing it. And I have yet to see a heavy go at 250 kph. Or even 200 kph. Like, I can ski all day long and just
Diamond Sword has secured their
try
flag.
my hardest to get up as far as 200 as a heavy. Not gonna work. Look at this speed. It's like Sonic with slow shoes. Oh, this is bad. Don't, like, coming up a hill like that, should I say cliff like that, my energy just fucking went to zero. So in essence, don't, for the love of God, don't try and flag carry as a fucking heavy. And you lose a lot of control when you're just trying to do stuff like that. Wow, I didn't actually notice that before. Fuck that. You can tell I'm not a brute player. But, let's say with raiders, right? Here we go. I like raiders because they're multi-purpose, depending on what weapon they have. It's not the easiest to self-propel yourself, especially with the grenade launcher, but it is possible. And you do have the energy
Diamond
to back it
Sword
up,
has secured their
just in
flag.
case you screw up. Fucking hell. When you're going at speed, it's actually harder to do it. And you can muck up and send yourself in the opposite direction, like I just did. Or completely fuck up and just damage yourself for absolutely no reason. I would say out of the medium classes, the soldier and the raider have it easy in terms of reducing damage dealt to yourself from self-propelling. But as a raider, you have the shield. Now it's much easier to self-propel yourself with the arc buster than it is with the grenade launcher. But your main objective as a raider is the enemy generator. And after that's done, enemy turrets. So you want to have a nice path to come in here or come in the back door to get yourself down to the enemy generator. So you have access to skipping. Fuck that. You have access to skipping hills. And what I mean by that is doing this. Just completely skipping the other side of the hill. Heavies don't have that luxury. Medium classes do. And light classes, as I've said, can skip entire fucking cliff sides. You can tell I don't use this thing very often. I'm not used to its timing. But I will be using it for the class base. Why can I do it down a fucking cliff? The hardest fucking one to do, but I can't do it when it's straight in front of me. Oh shit, that's a ball. Ow! Fuck off! Right. I'll change back to the Pathfinder. I just find it easiest and the fastest, so it's just so much easier to tell you and explain it. But whatever. Right. One tick. Right, so we're gonna move on to differences in hill and cliffs. Their height and their steepness. This will be a continuation of the one I did in the basic tutorials. Now, let's say something like this, right? It's pretty obviously a frickin' cliff face, but the lips are slightly different. And the lips are slightly different because it's crowded by other fucking cliffs. The bottom of this is a cup. Now, the bottom lip comes all the way around here. All the way around that. And here is where you'd consider flat land. If you hit that from jumping down off that, you're going to take damage. Let's see if I can explain that. I have ski on. See? Gonna take damage for something like that. But if you hit about there, you're fine. So that there's the bottom lip, and it's a lot smaller because it's a cliff. This, its top lip, comes up and down this fucking, I suppose, range. And it comes up and all the way across here. And down this side. If you hit that, and come down on that, you won't stick to the cliff. And it's quite possible, if you hit the top lip and you come whee, you're going to hit flat land. That means you're going to take damage, you're going to lose a lot of momentum, you're going to lose a lot of speed. Same thing with going up. If you're coming up this hill, cliff, you want to jump from the lower lip. Start your jetpack at the lower lip. and just come up and over the hill, down the other side. The chances of you, like, if you're going at 200 kph and you hit that bottom lip, you use your jetpack, you're gonna go, wow, what the balls? And just fucking start flying around the map, and you're gonna be high flying. Here comes a Doombringer, here comes 2 saber launchers, and you're dead. Unless you're really good at pathfinding and you can tell, well, you can tell where the missiles are coming from and force them into a hill. When you're in the competitive scene of Tribes, or any game of Tribes, when you are practicing like this, you have to think of the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you're going 250 kph, you hit that lower lip, you come jetpacking all the way up here, and I'm sitting here, and I'm a fucking Doombringer, and I have out my saber launcher. You're fucked. You're essentially fucked, no matter what speed you're going at. You are vertically flying, you're above the barrier, he's locked on twice, you're dead. With smaller hills, it's much easier. Smaller hills would be... See this one here? That would be... That's just a small hill. Nothing too major, nothing too rash, nothing too vertical like this thing. And they help a lot with horizontal flying. But the ones you really want to hit, the ones you really want to keep an eye out for, they're curved hills. Like this one. That little hill there, at least from this side is a curved part. This side, not so much, it's just a tiny hill. And how you can tell the difference is pretty easy. If you can imagine me, I'll actually have to draw this in paint or something. But I'm walking normally, right? Not doing anything else, I'm just pushing forward. See the way there's no difference? Here, that's a long stretch for a bottom lip. And it's a very small top lip. Those are the kind of hills you want to look for. Because when you go up them, you're flying vertically and horizontally, yes. You're essentially flying diagonally up. But they give you so much air control. Like, let's see if I can properly show you this. What? See that? And energy conserving. Oh, thanks, Rock, for just screwing that up. I was having fun. This side, not so much. That's another good example, in fact. Wow, I can't believe I just did that, but whatever. Coming down here, this part here, that's a curved hill. The curve is, it's slightly elevated land, but it goes up at a nice pace and then just stops at the top. A normal hill doesn't do that. It just kind of, I'm just a bump in the road sort of shit. Like that. That's way too steep to consider it a curved hill. This is only a little bump in the road, but its other side That's a nice curved hill, actually. I'm gonna have to start using that. And it leads right into the next one. That's actually fucking epic. That is lovely. What the hell happened there? Thanks, base turret. So, this is pretty obvious. That's a fucking cliff. This I would consider, I suppose, a half curved hill. But it's essentially the same thing. A curved hill is essential. Essential for keeping your energy. Because it doesn't require you... Ow, my face. It doesn't require you to use much energy to give you elevation. That is essentially one of the best things for Tribes players. When you hit that, it's going to send you all the way up. You're going to have the height that you need. You're going to have the vertical velocity. You're going to have everything you need just to do it properly. And that is great. Coming down. That was a rock. That should have actually sent me flying upwards, but whatever. Going up a hill, I try and stray away from cliffs like this because there's too many jagged places and they can send you way off course. Nice cliffs like this, not so bad. If hit right, you can make it out of a good cliff. But going down on little small hills like this, because they're so small, I would consider them flat land. And because of that, and because of the fucking turret I'm being sent, but when you hit something and you're trying to go down it, you can take a lot of damage. Like I showed you over there. Or was it over there? Yeah, either or. They're actually the same. Down in the cup, when you hit the lip, you go flying off the edge and you hit flat ground. Now, just because a hill isn't flat doesn't mean it doesn't have flat ground. I know it's very confusing. Alright. Okay. Let's say you've come up this hill here and you're flying up and you're heading towards the vehicle station. Well, that was a bad shot. You're heading towards the vehicle station and you've jumped up over this little hill here. Right? That one there. You've jumped up and you've run out of jetpack halfway through and you're coming down really quickly and you're about to hit this. If you're coming down this like a trajectory here, like that, you're about to hit flat ground. And I'll show you what I mean now in just a tick. Alright, let's just show you this, right? Let's say this here is your hill. Very steep frickin' hill. Let's say you are coming in from here. Wow. Bad, mouse. Just bad. Wow. Now, okay. So we have the hill. We have you and your angle. Right? Now let's see if Oh my god, this is just so bad. How do you rotate the damn thing? Let's say 90 degrees to the right, yeah? Do you understand that? You pretty much just hit flat ground. I wish I could just kind of turn it this way a little bit. If you can tilt your head to the right, you'll understand what I mean. You just hit flat ground. That's instant death. So, yeah. Let's go back to the video. That's hitting flat ground. Now, the last subject, I suppose, we've gone through 90% of them. I think the last one is skiing pointers for different classes. Okay, I suppose this is something I could handle now because it's really easy. For Pathfinders, well, you've watched me ski for I don't know how many times now. It's so easy. Just use little tidbits of your energy just to fly around to hit the right places. That's not so bad, is it? Oh, just kill me, turret. Thank you. Now, you've seen me ski as a Pathfinder so many frickin' times. As a Sentinel, you don't have access to a lot of energy regen. However, you do have access to things like the Claymore to self-propel. Now, I suppose I won't be able to do this at high speeds. No. It's something you have to do before you hit high speed. Exactly the same as the Pathfinder. Just bunny hop here and there. Use energy when you need to. Don't overdo it. Don't overspend your energy, because you don't have a lot of energy regen. But when you're into your nice place, expend all of your energy, and you know you're there, and you've hit your place. There you go. That's the Sentinel. Exactly the same as the Pathfinder. Just remember that you don't have a lot of energy regen. Let's see. The Infiltrator. The Infiltrator is much easier. The Infiltrator has quite a bit of energy regen. I would hazard a guess at more so than the Pathfinder. So they can do a lot more interesting things. And they can self-propel easier. I would think, at hazard of guessing now, but an Infiltrator would be a good flag chaser. But if given the choice between an Infiltrator and a Pathfinder flag chase, I think I'd actually go with the Pathfinder, mainly because I'm more used to it. That is the only reason, so I'm a bit biased in it. An Infiltrator has it easy. They have speed, they have the energy regen, and yeah, okay, they can't take any much more shots than a Pathfinder, but because of their stealth unit, they have a natural advantage over most players. And they have prism mines. Yeah, fuck off, base turret. The only thing I would say about an Infiltrator is because of the stealth unit, you have to split your energy in two. Now, what I mean by that is you have 100 energy max. You have to conserve that between jetpacking and stealthing. So just watch your meter and you should be fine. Once you hit your max, try and expend a little bit of it, even if, like, you don't need to. The only reason I say that is because when you hit 100 and you're in midair, you can stealth. So if you are going to high fly, and you can high fly with an infiltrator, if you're going to high fly with an infiltrator, you want to stealth when you're at your peak. Something like that. Now, granted, that wasn't at 100 energy, and there's a lot of other players out there that are more skilled with a infiltrator than I am. I'm actually a very bad infiltrator. That doesn't mean to say that my advice is actually stupid, because if you notice the way infiltrators play and analyze what they're actually doing, quite a few of them know what the hell they're doing, but for someone who's new to the game, won't have a clue. I hate the new flag music. It is so bad. Please change it back, Hi-Rez. Please, for the love of God, change it back.
We have captured the Diamond Sword flag.
Also, was I able to just stealth with the flag? Again, for infiltrators, remember you have higher regen, but you have to split it in two. So keep it 50-50, 50 for your jetpack, 50 for your stealth. If you're in midair and you're high flying, get it up to 100, go stealth, and just hit the ground running. So, next class, Soldier. This speaks for itself. Soldier has higher energy regen than most other classes, and can very easily self-propel, as I just showed you. Out of the medium classes, the Soldier is the fastest. So that means they have the highest health regen and the highest medium energy regen. Especially with their utility pack, you have more health, you've got more run speed, you have more. The Soldier is the bread and butter of your army. You can't win a match without a Soldier. They are midfielders. They have the highest of everything, and they are the fastest medium class in the game. Don't take a Soldier lightly.
We have captured the Diamond Sword flag.
That would be a mistake. Let's see. The Technician. The Technician's probably the hardest one to do out of all medium classes. Yes, they have the Thumper, but they don't always have it equipped. And it's an unlockable gun. So, naturally, the Technician has its little TNC4, and it's harder to self-propel. In fact, it's impossible to self-propel. However, the Technician has, especially with the Thumper, self-propellant and can go at decent speeds. But a Technician is not supposed to leave the base. However, they are the fastest for, I suppose, controlling a flag carrier. Because their Thumper lasts a little bit longer than the DX, they can be used as anti-aircraft as well. I'll cover most of this stuff in the classes, right? But the skiing tip would be hit small hills like this, because you won't be going around the map. try and use the little jetpack trick to get around. Especially if you're in the base itself, like here. And you're stopped dead, you're like this. You're 0 kph. Jump and hold down for jetpack, right? While going forward. Then turn on your skis and just go forward. That would be the in-base little skiing trick. And you can pick up a decent amount of speed considering you didn't self-propel. So that is the techie. You don't have a lot of energy regen as a tech, but it's decent. Now is the Raider. The Raider's harder to do. I'm gonna have to modify this. The Arcbuster is so much easier to self-propel with. Because of this, the Raider is actually, once a Raider picks up speed, it's pretty easy for them to keep it. I thought they fixed that glitch. Silly high-res. Tricks are for kids. Give me my thank you. Now, you use the little jetpack trick as well, but you have it so much easier to self-propel. You want to use medium-sized hills, like this one, to get around. If you can hit the bottom lips of every hill that you meet, you'll pick up a lot of speed and it's easy for you guys to keep it. Especially since you only have essentially one target, and that is the enemy generator. You can do a lot of damage to the enemy generator, but I'll talk about that in the class tutorials. Your skiing tricks consist of base turrets hitting you and missing you, your Arcbuster, and if you are very good, you can self-propel with the grenade launcher as well. Your jetpack usage is actually minimal. Out of the three classes, the Soldier, the Techie, and the Raider has the least jetpack usage. Only because it is so easy for you guys to get around. The Techie doesn't need to get around. The Techie is a in-base class. The Raider is the complete opposite. He is the in-enemy base. All the time. That is why they're called a Raider. Because they raid. It's much easier for them to get around. Now, the Juggernaut. This is the hardest class to ski with. At least in my own opinion. They are the slowest of the slow. They are the slowest of the heavies. And these guys want to hit, if they can hit the medium hills without expending your backpack or your jetpack energy, then good for you. They are, again, the slowest. And the reason for that is because they are stationary targets. Or stationary targeters. You see that? I just expended my own... Wow. You can't... Juggernauts are hard to maneuver. A good Juggernaut player, however, can be up on top of this hill and decimating the other team. So it is crucial to keep and not expend your ammo. Not ammo, your energy. derp. And that is easier said than done. If you can get on top of a tall hill like this, you're pretty much sorted until you come to a dead stop. But when you come to a dead stop, you ain't going anywhere fast. I wanted to stay up there. Watch this. Right. From 80 to 0. You don't get a lot of height. You also don't have a lot of fucking energy regen either. That is only because you don't need it. When a Juggernaut stops, it's usually for a reason. And that's the reason. You're gonna bomb the shit out of the enemy base. You don't need energy. But getting there, that's the tricky part. You want to find a hill like this. Come down the other side. And then go up this one. Expending your energy. Hitting this hill. And coming down this side of it. If you want to get on top of a hill like this, that would be one point of skiing up a hill. So when you're coming to a dead stop and you know damn well you are. That's something that everybody has to use in their own right. Like they have to learn it. But the Juggernaut is the slowest. Next up we have a Doombringer. The Doombringer should not be skiing anywhere. He has slightly more energy than the Juggernaut, but damn, his energy regen is bullshit. You can get to that height, the jetpack usage is what the balls. Your energy regen is lower than a Juggernaut's. Again, the same thing if you want to get somewhere. Use small hills or big cliffs. But damn, when you come to a dead stop, you're not going anywhere fast. A good heavy, a good Doombringer, will be sat here the entire match. Not leaving for any reason whatsoever. Sit that there. Set up your mines. 2 mines in each tunnel. One force field at the front, 1 force field at the back. Have fun, you're gonna kill everything that even remotely comes near this flag. You don't need skiing tips as a Doombringer. You should not be skiing as a Doombringer. You are in-house defense. You want to sit on top of this flag stand and you don't frickin' move. The only time you want to be able to switch weapons, oh look, Shrike, dead. The only other time you want to change from being a defensive Doombringer is if you change to the heavy bolt launcher. This changes the class completely. Now, you're probably asking, what the fuck are you talking about? How does changing your weapon change your class? Quite easily. This heavy bolt launcher, self-propelling. The Doombringer now changes quite a lot. Because of this, the Doombringer is a dual class. This is the only time a Doombringer should be leaving the base, is if they have a heavy bolt launcher. This is the kind of Doombringer you will see on top of a hill. To get there is very, very difficult for skiing. Because, as you can see, I'm having a hard time just getting up the fucking hill. You want to be up on top of a frickin' hill like this. As soon as they spawn a Shrike, yep, it's dead. Getting up here, however, that's the tricky part. You want to use these kind of hills. And when I say these kind of hills, I'll show you on the other side of the map. You also have very little air control as a Doombringer, so please take that into mind. Ski up slightly, let it recharge just for about 10, and then expend it. Just to get you off the ground a little bit. That is the only little trick I know with the Doombringer, because usually I'll have the chain gun and I'm sitting on that fucking flag stand. Either that or I'm pathfinding. But the self-propelling mode of that heavy bolt launcher is one of the best in the game, next to the spin fuser. See that? You wouldn't be able to do that with a Juggernaut. You sure as hell wouldn't be able to do that with a Brute. Well, no, I suppose you can with a Brute, actually. Only slightly, though. The next and last class is the Brute. The easiest of the heavies to ski with. He's got 100 energy. He's got a hell of a lot of recharge. At least for a heavy anyway. And he has self-propelling. This is the guy you want to use small, medium and large hills to get across the map. That was a fail self-propelling, but whatever. You also have the automatic shotgun. Please, for the love of God, Brutes, don't forget about the automatic shotgun. It rapes anything that's close to you. If you are going CTF, the Brute is the class to use for base assault. No, sorry, for midfielding. He's an all-purpose heavy. The Juggernaut is base assault. Essentially, what the Brute is a midfielder. And because of his energy reserves, because of his energy regen, and because of the self-propellant, he's the type of guy you want to stay the hell away from in midfield. Because they will very easily rape you. Very easily. Modify class. Damn. The Nova Colt doesn't change things much. It still rapes things at close quarters. The energy pack or the heavy shield pack, that's up to personal preference. Honestly, I would go energy pack for a Brute because he's a midfielder. If you're gonna take him into base assault, then heavy shield pack. Because when you're a base assault with a Brute, you're actually inside the base. So you'd need something like the heavy shield pack. Fractal grenades, light sticky grenades. I'll just say fractal grenades because I've seen them most used and they are, well, bastards, for lack of a better term. The Brute is midfielding, all-purpose. I can handle this stuff. And flag recap. Well, no, I suppose flag recap would be soldier. More so than the brute. Yeah, the soldier definitely. But his little skiing tip is exactly as I've said. Use these small hills. Try not to expend your energy. Even though the brute has the highest of the heavies in energy regen, it's still not all that great. And use self-propelling. I would recommend against taking egocentric with the brute because it's a waste of a perk for a brute. But if you want to go for it, you can self-propel yourself around all fucking day, because when you have that perk on a brute, you take almost no bloody damage. Great, hit the wall. Thanks, game. Yeah, I know, it was my fault. But... I just wanted to. I just had to. That was actually quite funny. I think that is it for this tutorial. I think, yeah, it's been long enough. And I have cleared all the subjects. High flying, control and plants. Yeah, I'll have to show you. Right. Let's say you're high flying. And you're gone totally vertical. Remember when I said in the basic tutorial that you should just unbind W? When you high fly, W actually comes into play. Let's say you're going vertical, right? And you come up. You need W to change which way you're coming down, so you can actually land on a hill properly. Like that. You see that? This doesn't affect your speed much. This is something I would highly recommend everybody stray away from. But if you have to do it, then do it. But just remember that your W, S, A and D are controlling which way you're landing. If you land horribly on a hill, it's gonna cripple you for it. And if you don't use W to land properly, you're gonna lose a lot of speed. High flying as a Pathfinder, it doesn't... Try not to. If you are facing the direction you want to go when you go down a hill, the last key you should press before landing is W. Because if you had S pressed before you land, you're going back on the hill and it won't land you properly. because of this, you will take fall damage. Even though it's technically not really falling. Well, no, it is, but you know what I mean. I hope. Changing direction with the terrain, folks. That's what you can do with it. What the balls? I'm glad I have that recorded, because I should have captured that.
We have captured the Diamond Sword flag.
You all saw it. I just went straight through the flag. Glad I have that recorded this time, because that bug is irritating the fuck out of me. High flying! Please don't do it. It's not worth the hassle if you die while having the flag. Gotta go fast! Gotta jump over rocks before they send me fucking orbital. Now, the last thing I want to handle has got to do with self-propellant. Ah, that's a fucking cliff. Thanks, game. What the? Ah, balls. I did it again. Now, right, the last bit of self-propellant. I've explained the uphill and downhill bit. How if you're going down a hill, you want to aim slightly up. Going up a hill, you want to aim slightly down. Why am I skiing? However, the mark when you're on level is essentially, let's say we're here. We're coming around at 200k. You want to aim about there. Enough to get you off the ground, but enough to send you horizontally fast as well. What this is simulating is going up a curved hill. Like that. I'd actually suggest it being a little bit higher. About there. That looks about right. That is the best place you want to shoot. It's essentially shooting at your ass and sending you vertically and horizontally. Now if my health regen would kick in, thank you very much. Thrust. See what I mean? And now you have enough energy to go around. Although I didn't, because I failed at that. Another way to using self-propellant is your nitron grenades, especially with a Pathfinder. But I would actually frown away from using your nitrons as self-propellant. The only reason for this is when you are flag chasing, because that saves your team's ass. That's the only real things. Self-propellant, or with self-propellant, should I say. after all of these, the ski tutorials, the basic and the advanced, if I come up with any other separate tips, tricks and what have yous, I'll create another ski tutorial. On top of this one, I won't recreate it. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to go through. High flying, controls and plans, self-propellant, pros and cons. I don't think I went through all the pros and cons, but I went through most of them. Difference in hill, cliff, height and steepness. Yep, did that. Skiing pointers for different classes. Yep. Where you want to go and how you get there. Yep, pretty much. High flying barrier, getting higher and lower because of straight flying and vertical flying. Yep, and energy conservation. That would be it. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. The skiing tutorials were made for the people who are starting tribes with the new open beta, and you know what? I really hope that everybody's listened in, everybody has picked up on a few things. If this has helped you in any way, post it down in the comments, rate the video, and most importantly, I'll see you all in tribes.